Well, I haven't done a Google and a Geezer Android adventure from anywhere in a long time. And since I'm sort of wrapping up this trip back to the States, or wrapping up the trip to Thailand, heading back to the States, I thought this would be as good a time as any. All sorts of stuff have been happening with Android and Google in the last few months. Uh, I get my news because there's a lot of stuff that happens in Android, happens whatever, in a little app called Dribbler. I think that's the correct name of it. Let me take a quick look here. Drippler, Dribbler. And what it does is it contains most of the Android Pit, Android Agent, Dribbler itself, Android and Me, updates. Android Central, and I go through there and see what's happening with apps and stuff like that. Which is, if you're looking for news, if you're the type of person that uses the applications quite a bit, or uses your phone and the applications quite a bit, this is really sort of the place to go. Okay, Android has now come out, or I should say Google has come out with two new phones. Last April, which is going on 18 months ago, I got my Huawei, or however you say it, Nexus 6P, which I'm still pleased as punch with. Now, Google is now going it on their own, and they came out with what's called the Pixel. And there's two of them, the small one and the big one. Now, the big one's only 5.5 inches diagonal, whereas my Nexus 6P is a little bigger, but to my eye, noticeably bigger. The other big change is in the price, and there's a big price jump. The other problem with the Pixels is they have 32 gig memory available, and then 128 gig. There is no 64. Now, in the 6P that I'm using, it's at 64. And actually, I'm using, when I look, because all this information is, it's really set up nicely, and looking at what's going on is set up really nicely. I'm only using about half of that, which basically means 32 is not enough, 64 is just fine, but it's no longer available, and it's a lot more expensive. So my plans for now is to stick with the 6P. Now, occasionally I drop it a little bit or bump it, and I've kept a Spigen, or Spigen, screen protector, glass kind of screen protector on it. And it's brilliant. It'll crack, but the screen on the Nexus device itself doesn't. So if you're going to get a phone, and Spigen or Spigen or whatever the name of it is, makes screen guards for all sorts of phones. So whatever phone you've got, I certainly recommend going that way. Now Google Maps is continuing on. Another one that I've found rather amazing is here. Let me look on. I can't find it, but anyhow, never mind. There's all sorts of stuff available. I got kind of fed up with Google Earth, and it's not so much Google Earth itself, but the people who put photos in Google Earth put them in the wrong places. They don't pay attention to, if their GPS has been locked on a point, hasn't. And especially here in Northeast Thailand, I go looking, sometimes I'll be out, like in the Phupan area or areas off in the middle of nowhere, and I'll pop open Google Earth, and I'll see a picture of a place, and I go, hey, that's not too far away, and let me go look. And quite often it has nothing to do with the place people point out. So if you like Google Earth and you use it, beware. There's another one called Street View that I've been using, and it's been a lot better. It's usually showing, the street views, the whole sphere and stuff like that, because I was updating some of mine that I thought had locations but actually didn't, and I made sure they were placed in the right location so that people who look at them find the right thing. The other nice thing that, once again, I probably mentioned it before, that I'm kind of proud about, is my photos in Google Map views are inching near about 6 million views. And that means, okay, I doubt if I'm 100% right, but more than 95% probably 99% plus more. These photos are in the right locations, and I try to make them general photos so people can see what's sort of there. The other thing here, and this is getting back to Google products, is, I use Google Fi because I'm in the States now more than half the time. And I would recommend Fi to anybody who's in the States, half a year or half the year, because it works all over the world. It's $10 per gigabyte. So my basic, to have a number, and my phone number rings wherever I am if somebody calls me from the States or wherever they are on that number. So it's handy if your home base or semi-home base is in the States. I suggest looking at Google Fi and using it, because I've found here, even though I was a big fan of TRUE, all caps, and their coverage, which I use when I'm back here, I was getting a signal, my Google Fi signal, that uses, it works in Thailand. I don't know who all they're tied to, who they get their signal from here, but it was actually better than True up here in Isaan. So I swear by it. The other new thing I've started using, just downloaded, and I've been test driving it, is this Android app called Droop, D-R-U-P-E. And I suggest you take a look at it and check it out and read about it. Go to YouTube, and there's a number of good reviews. But it's a contact thing in one way, but it has a whole lot more features than the normal contacts do. And your apps such as Messenger, Mail, and all that, I've found it handy, and I'm probably only using a couple % of what it has available. But for those people looking for, if you use your phone, if you use Messenger, if you use Facebook and all these other things, it looks like a real winner. And I'm going to keep trying it. And of course, I'm always afraid that once they come out, upgrade it, as they call it, they may screw it up. But for right now, I go with it and give it a shot. If it speeds things up for you, it speeds things up for you. And if it's more, if it makes you more efficient, that to me is sort of what it's all about. But anyhow, that's sort of my, towards the end of the year, November, early December, Google and the Geezer. Once again, I'm a big fan of the Nexus 6P, especially if you use it for, directions when you're driving or things like that. The screen's a decent size. You've got to find yourself the right holder for your car or your motorbike or whatever you're using to get around. And it's got the speed, and I run a lot of apps at the same time. It's also easy to shut down the apps you're not using. Of course, they're going to come back, and for having information. But yeah, Nexus 6P is great. Dribbler for keeping up with what's going on in Android and Google. If you're in the States, I am certainly a big Project 5 fan. I've had it for more than a year now, and it's had a couple minor glitches, but it sure makes, when I get off a plane in Dubai, or I get off a plane in Bangkok, once I go from airplane mode back to data mode, it usually takes just less than minutes to lock into the data system here, and I'm good to go until I get someplace where I've got Wi-Fi. And the most I've ever used being overseas is 1.5 gigs. So that brings my bill to about $35 plus tax. And I'm really happy with that. So that's that. Y'all take care and get ready. The holidays are right around the corner. Y'all have fun and be careful. It's a jungle out there.